Welcome back to Daybreak Extra on Trust TV. So today, October 11th, is the International Day of the Girl Child, a day dedicated to recognizing the rights of girls and the unique challenges they face around the world. This year's theme focuses on empowering girls, promoting gender equality, and creating spaces where they can thrive without limitations, from access to education and healthcare to leadership and technology. The day reminds us that investing in girls means investing in a stronger future for all. So joining us to discuss this significant day is Habiba Ahmed, who is the Senior Programs Officer at Women's Rights Advancement and Protection Alternative, WRAPA. You're welcome to the show. Welcome to Daybreak Extra, Habiba.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be here.
Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So we are talking about the International Girl Child Day. Where are we at this point? Because, you know, we're looking at the girl child when it comes to education, you know, when it comes to empowerment and what have you, when, you know, for children up from probably the age of 18 and above. Where are we at this point?
Well, if you look at it today, this year marks 30 years after the Beijing Declaration on ending gender inequality and also promoting gender equality. And let's talk about it within the Nigerian context. If you look at the global, statistics, they say 3 out of 5 women are likely to be abused within the age of 15 to 18. And now within the Nigerian context, we are seeing progress, but we still have a lot to do. And this year's theme is very strong. This year's theme is the girl that I am, the change I lead, girls in the front line of crisis. And across the world, globally, we have seen crises have taken over from 2024 to 2025. Across the globe, not only in Africa, but also in Middle East and also other continents. Now, coming back to Nigeria, since 2015, we have been talking about girls in crisis, ranging from Boko Haram, now we deal with bandits, now we deal with even petty thief that you see every day. And these issues affect women and girls more. And that is why it is very strategic for this year's theme to be girls in the front line of crisis. How does it affect girls? How does it distort their growth system and also build them to become good mothers and groom future leaders? And, you know, once there is no peace, continuous violence, girls are open to different kind of abuses that it becomes, you know, a norm in their day-to-day life. And it also distorts their way of thinking, their way of grooming, and how they see life. And this affects how they grow to their full potential. And going back to an example that, you know, from the work we do in WRAPA, you could clearly see that with the high rate of banditry now in Katsina State, which is one of the states where we work, you see girls do not go to school anymore. They are now at home, and because of the high rate of banditry, their parents are going into poverty, and they tell them, oh, you know, before school there is feeding. Please go and hawk and get money for us. And these are now the daily contextual realities of girls that we have. And now we are now talking about it. Yes, we have growth, but we still have a lot to tackle in terms of girls being themselves in crisis. And this year's theme also encourage it is with us and not for us. Because when you're talking about negotiations, when you're talking about peace building, are girls in the room? No, they're looked as, you know, small young girls who do not know what to say or how it is affecting them. But these girls have daily depression issues, daily situations that they have nobody to talk to because they feel they are children and they are not usually in the negotiation table to have these discussions. So as a woman advocate and as WRAPA, we are aligning with this year's theme to say girls should indeed be in the front line of addressing violence against women and girls, so that it is, you know, a holistic approach that takes in their own needs, their own issues. And you see, when these approaches are applied in the daily realities of people, everybody is carried along and no one is left behind.
Okay. Habiba, how can communities in Nigeria, and in Nigeria especially, better commemorate the International Day of the Girl Child to drive meaningful change for girls? And how can they also align to the theme, the girl I am, the change I lead, girls on the front lines of crisis?
Now, you know, there's a popular Hausa proverb that aka ce mata su ne kallabin gida.
Okay, meaning the ladies are the
fronts of the house.
Of course. Something like that.
They are the leaders of the home.
Yes.
That is what it means.
They're the head.
They're the head of the home. And if we're going by that proverb, which I'm sure every other tribe has, if we go by that proverb, which means allow women to be the best leaders of the home. At home, the family is the basic structure of the society. So now it is very essential that communities, one, listen to these girls. Because if you don't listen, how will she have a voice? And even if she has a voice and she speaks and the community doesn't listen, how will they know what she's saying? So the first role of the community is to listen. Throughout the month of October, communities can design programs in schools, even within market squares, and, you know, maybe when they are doing their little entertainment within the communities, to say, okay, girls, can you come and talk? How does crisis affect you? How does even the basic cheche kuche, like that is the conflict in homes, how does it affect you as a child? So when they speak up, and these girls have the avenue to tell what is on their mind, and the community listen, then that is step one. Then step two is affirming to these issues that these girls are saying. Because sometimes when a girl comes out to say, I have back pain because I have carried bucket of water from this place to that place, I'm on my menstrual period and I can't go to school, it seems as if you are lazy. You don't want to do this chores. So when parents affirm that this is true, my daughter is really going through her own personal crisis. Because apart from societal crisis, you have personal crisis, you have adolescent rage, you have adolescent crisis, where a girl is still trying to figure out herself, trying to understand what her body is telling her. That is her own personal crisis. And so it's affirming that these things exist, these issues are happening to her. When she says, Musa is always throwing stones at me when I'm going to school, it's for you to affirm that, yes, there is more to Musa throwing stones to her and addressing that issue. So when you listen, you affirm, you agree that, yes, this is happening. And then the third step is solutions. Once you have listened to her, once you have affirmed that these issues are there, then you create solutions. And solutions is for everybody, leaders of faith, leaders of culture, and even communities themselves, to be active bystanders, to be able to now look into those issues that she has said and put mechanisms that address them. Let me give you a typical example in Karimajiji community here in Abuja, where we did an intervention as WRAPA. What the chief of Karimajiji, His Royal Highness, listened to these girls and heard their concerns. They said, oh, we are not able to go back to school because of the high rate of poverty. We are not able to go to school from this time to this time because of the boys, the bike Okada men going around harassing them. So he brought his people together to say, this is the issue of my girls. What can we do? How can we address this issue? And they formed a community watchdog. Once it's 6 p.m., the Okada people, you know, they have a union. They have people who they have put in place. Once they catch you harassing any girl, you'll be penalized for it. Is either they seize your bike for 5 days, you won't do your Okada work for 5 days, or they go and they say, oh, okay, this person from 5, we don't want to see you again on the streets because you have refused to adhere to our instructions. Even in churches, the pastor uses his own congregation and preach against it. In the mosques, between Maghrib and Isha, the imam talks about these issues, and anybody that is found guilty will be sent to different institutions that they belong to. Either the bike leader address the issue, or the leader of faith address the issue, or they bring him to the front of the sarki where he's being cautioned. And so these mechanisms that he has put in place have made people to become cautious of these issues, and now is bringing more stability for girls in the society.
I'm glad to see a young person like you actually doing a lot in this line, but we also know that, you know, education has been a major challenge for girls in certain communities, like you mentioned, conflict-prone areas, you know, because of banditries and insecurities. And you know, the data shows that 7.6 million girl child are out of school from the age of 5 to 14, and then the total is 10.5 children, which we know is possibly even more than the data that we have right now, because we keep seeing, you know, insecurities happening every now and then. What do you think? What are the policies, you know, that you think government stakeholders can actually take, you know, to change this narrative?
There are a lot of policy in existence. We have the Child Rights Act, and I'm sure all the 36 states, apart from Kano, have implemented.
Definitely.
Why not Kano?
Well, a lot of dynamics around policy and implementation of laws. So they have their own internal dynamics, which I'm sure they would. We are, even as CSOs and non-governmental organizations, we're trying to push to see that this policy comes to life in Kano. So there are existing policies and laws. The problem is implementation, and implementation starts from the grassroots too, because sometimes these laws are in existence but people do not know about them, and the implementing power is very low because people are not demanding for accountability. So for instance, if you have the Child Rights Act, which clearly states that regardless of any situation, a child is supposed to be given basic education, and the people do not even know about these things. How would they demand it from government if government do not put this, do not act on these laws? So it first of all is awareness. We need to create awareness. We need to talk about these existing laws and policies that we have, that, you know, so that people know about it and they are able to demand for it if it's not given to them. And two is also continue to work with government. Government is doing a lot. They're trying. But then, however, as citizens and as non-governmental organizations and CSOs, we push. Like we have a WRAPA we did, and under the Balala funded project that we did, ensuring that girls go back to school post-COVID. We did an alternative means of learning. So those girls that were not able to graduate because of the stress of COVID, because of the issues that COVID came with, we created a learning management system called Girls Innovative Learning Management System, that's GLME, where girls could go and see these resources from maths, English, chemistry, all the courses. And we're able to also do an extracurricular classes for them. That is girls that are no longer in school. We brought them back and we did extra classes for them, and they were able to, 60% of those girls were able to graduate and move to the next level. So it's also from our own end to create alternative means of learning for young girls, so that they'll be able to access education regardless of the situation. Like during crisis, she can't go anywhere, she's indoors. But when she has a mobile phone, she has internet, she can be able to continue learning. And also for government to look for innovative ways to learn, for students to learn. We can start writing JAM online, and we are already doing it, but also within the comfort of your home. You don't have to go to centers to write these examinations. So government should create innovative ways whereby, regardless of the crisis situation, because crisis would come. It is, as far as man exists, crisis will come. So it's for us to look at innovative, sustainable ways that will continue to give education to our children, regardless of the crisis that we are facing.
Okay. even though you just mentioned a success story, you taking back a female girls back to school, dropouts, right? So what are some success stories of Nigerian girls breaking barriers in other aspects that inspire others on this International Day of the Girl Child?
We have a project called the End to Child Marriage that we did in Katsina State. We worked with 6 communities and 3 local government. We have Ajiwa, Dantogoro, and Kinkia, some of the communities that we worked with. And one of the key success stories is that young girls, young men and young boys and girls were able to come together. We call them the E2CMC, End to Child Marriage Champions in Katsina. We're able to come together and work with leaders of faith and culture to address issues of child marriage. And we have one of the bright young ladies, Amina, who was able to break the intergenerational barrier. She was able to work with mothers to say, I was once a victim of child marriage, and I'll tell you, there is nothing there. There was no positive, rather it was negative. So she was coming from a point of experience, and she was able to talk to this young she was able to talk to these mothers. So they didn't even look at her like a young girl, because this girl is just 17. But she would gather them and they will have a discussion, and she was able to stop up to 5 girls that were about to get married within that
what age range?
Community, within the age of 13, 14, 15.
Wow.
So those girls were already prepped to be married off, and she was able to intervene using also the leaders of faith and culture to have this conversation and tell them, why not take them back to school? You let them finish, at least do health technology college or any of the diplomas before they get married. So, and currently as it is, this was a project we did in 2023, and currently as it is, we still have girls in that community who are furthering their education, using Amina as a role model to see that, oh, okay, we can still have a life beyond getting married. And also in WRAPA now, currently, to commemorate the International Day of the Girl Child, we are looking at conflict-prone areas. Plateau, you can see the intra-state violence happening in Plateau, and then high rate of trafficking. In fact, we got it from our state coordinator that they were able to recover 35 girls last month who were taken from the age of 5 out of Plateau, sold to Abia, Umaya, to the east. The rest, and they want to recover them back, but now they don't even know their origin. They can't even speak their local dialect. They can only speak Igbo.
The native,
and they have a new identity and they have a new name. That alone is a height of violence. And what is triggering parents to push out their children into trafficking? Because some of the parents know the implications of these things, but they will tell you they rather send their daughters to get money so that they can survive. So even some of the parents know the implications of these things. That's another thing.
So I'm glad to hear that, you know, some girls are actually recovered. I wanted to ask you what role men, you know, at this point, men, boys can engage in promoting, you know, or become allies, you know, when it comes to the rights and empowering girls. But talking about girls being trafficked, we all know that it comes with men and women being involved. How can girls actually trust these people?
So, yes, the issue of trust, there's a big barrier now, since your parents or the family member has taken you off and you've been sold and you've been, you know, you've been experienced different kind of abuse. So now that is why the girls need to be in the front line. So WRAPA will be working with 15 young girls who are survivors, who are also learned, who are, it will be a mix of different intersecting girls, it's a mix of girls who have different intersecting realities. So they'll come together and there will be the safe space. Like you said, there's that trust issue now between the young girls and the elders now, both men and even women, because some women are also sending their daughters off. So now is to use those community girls on community. Sorry, let me get the
to be sure.
It happens,
you know,
yeah, it happens. Because a lot of times, this conflict-prone areas or communities, there are reasons why girl child cannot access even education, aside from the conflict or insecurity that is eating deep into those communities. It could be, culture, it could be
exactly
cost,
what I was
it could be insecurity.
Yeah.
Exactly. There are lots of things that can actually hinder and disrupt their education process or progress. So I'm glad to see, like I said, a young person, like you, taking initiatives, and other organizations, CSOs coming together to see how we can actually change this narrative, how we can actually make young girls trust us again. It takes a lot for people to even trust organizations to say, okay, you got my child back, give me back my child. Can we trust you to even give you back your child in the first place?
Exactly.
And that's the major, problem that we need to actually
and
talk
one
about.
thing about that young marriage is the culture has a way of instilling the belief for a child. When you have a girl child, the first thing that comes to her mind when she turns 10 is, okay, I'll soon get married. That's my purpose on earth, to just get married at 13 also and just live life like nurturing another family. And the cycle goes on and goes on. So you were trying to tell us something.
Yes, and that is why we have these community girls on VAG front lines. They constitute 15 girls who are coming from different intersecting backgrounds, who will come together and become like a role model, like a guide for the remaining young girls within the community. And what they'll be doing is they'll be working with the leaders of faith and culture within that community. They'll be going to union meetings as girls. Now they are the one talking for themselves. That's why I said the approach is with them and not for them. We are not the ones talking for them. They are the ones talking for themselves, by themselves, with themselves. And they'll engage with unions meeting, where they'll go and talk about what they want each union, each member of the community to do for them and how they want it. And at the end of the day, we want to see a holistic commitment from the community to say, we acknowledge, like I said, they have listened, they have acknowledged, they have affirmed. These are the solutions, and this is what we want to do. They should all bring it in a big blackboard, put it in the community to say, yes, we will do A, B, C, D in this community to protect girls, to ensure that girls live life to their full potential. So these are this is the approach that WRAPA is taking.
Wow.
And we hope to come back here and also give you the success stories
around
this.
Definitely, which is very, very important, because they need to understand the situation with girls, understand the XYZ, understand what the problem is, what is the stigma, or is a stigma, the reason that is, hindering these girls from accessing schools. It's not about just community leaders or even, religious leaders. Do they even understand the problem in the first place? What is the barrier between the girl child and access to her education and what have you? In 10 seconds, what message will you give the girl child out there watching right now? Because today is their day. Should I say our day? Because we are all girls.
Yes.
So what message will you give young girls out there, to trust themselves to also stand in front of crisis, like you said? We are the leaders at the end.
One is, girls are born to be resilient. You are resilient, you are strong, and you are able. And we would work to ensure that the community, the society you are living in is open and gives you the opportunity to live life to your full potential. However, when this opportunity comes, grab it, hold it, utilize it, and build yourself to be the woman you want to be.
That's actually a very strong one.
Very, very
Build
strong.
yourself
You
to
know?
be the woman you want to be. Believe in yourself.
Yes. You
Yeah.
know, she just came up with a quote at the end of the day. People are coming up with quotes now. We are going to make it trend.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Habiba, for taking your time to be on the show and, you know, taking us through what it means, you know, for the girl child. Today is the day and they have to reflect on what they need to do with their lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, this is the much that we have for you now at this point, but then just stick around. We'll be joined by our documentary filmmaker, Aaron, to tell us more about the Gallery mass arrest and, you know, 11 years after and what the families and the victims have to say. Stay with us.